Let's look at our player awards, and I pretty much basically should just walk out the studio right now.
Odegaard.
Simeon has gone for Rodri. I've gone for Martin Odegaard. I felt like Odegaard had a really strong second half of the season last year. Once again, feel very dirty saying Martin Odegaard, but I feel like he had a very strong second half of the season. I have predicted for the Scum to win the league, and if they do, I feel like he is going to be very central to that top player.
I think Rodri was absolutely robbed last season for Player of the Year. I think the fact he wasn't nominated was a disgrace. He was head and shoulders the best player in the league, and I think if they win this league again, I think he will not be overlooked. It's impossible for him to be overlooked again, and I reckon he'll win the Player of the Year if Man City continue in the vein, which I'm expecting them to do.
Can't win Player of the Year if they get relegated.
If they get relegated, he can't. But I think the charges won't lead to a relegation. So,
what do you think they will lead to?
Anyone's guess. Might well lead to relegation, but I reckon it will be like maybe a points deduction, maybe a transfer ban. I reckon that there's some reports saying there's going to be some wins and some losses for Man City. It's not going to be all losses. So I don't know. Look, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the case. I don't know what to expect. This is unprecedented territory. But knowing very expensive lawyers, how they usually come about, I'm going to say that Man City don't get relegated.
Young player of the season, Sim has gone for Bob.
Oscar
Bob. Interesting one.
Yeah, I think he's been really exciting in pre-season. I think he was really good in the Community Shield. He got a really good assist late on as well. He's really starting to show that he can actually be a starter for Man City, in my opinion. He actually showed kind of glimpses of it last season. If you remember, he scored that winner at St James's Park, I think midway through the season, and he was really contributing. And I think he's really ready to make the step up, and I've been so impressed with him. And I reckon if he gets the game time, he could really push for Young Player of the Season. So I've gone for Oscar Bob.
Would you think he will get the game time with the players that Man City have?
Yeah. I mean, who else is on the right wing right now? You've got Savio, who signed. Doku and Grealish are mostly on the left. I mean, they don't really have a proper... I think, and the reports are, it's going to be Bob and Savio competing for that right wing spot. And if that is true, I think he will definitely get the game time.
Interesting. I mean, Savio looks like a proper player as well. So it'll be a one almighty battle, that's for sure. I've gone for Bukayo Saka. Less said the better.
Unbelievable, this
guy. Yeah, I think Saka obviously been one of the stars of the Premier League last couple of years. And I envisage him to do it again, unfortunately.
He's going to flop this year.
Let's hope so.
He's going to flop.
Why didn't you put him in biggest flop? He just won't be the biggest flop.
He's not going to be the biggest flop. He's just going to be a flop. Look, Saka's obviously a great player, and he's, 22? He's still scoring goals regularly. He's got 16 goals last season. He just keeps coming up to the fore for Arsenal, so I'm sure he's definitely going to be in with a shout. If Arsenal do win the league, he's going to have a big shout, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for taking that one for me, because I can't keep explaining why Arsenal are going to do well and Arsenal players are going to do well.
You made your bed.
I need to keep vaping.
Show us the Arsenal tattoo.
Shut up, guys. Biggest flop. Sim's gone for Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall. Look, I think the Chelsea project isn't one which I've got a lot of faith in, and I think Dewsbury Hall's a good little player, and Maresca knows him well. But a few things, I don't think Maresca. I've got a feeling Maresca might not last the season, and I think I'm looking at their midfield. I don't know if there's a natural place for him. If they're going to play Caicedo, Enzo, and then maybe Palmer in the 10. You've got Neto there now. You've got Nkunku, who could also play in the 10. I don't see where Dewsbury Hall's really fitting in. Is he good enough to play? When he does play, is he good enough to keep his place in the team? I don't know. I think Dewsbury Hall's been a decent player for Leicester, don't get me wrong. I just think that when it comes to the step up to Chelsea, I reckon there'll be a lot of knives out from Chelsea fans for him, and I feel like he might flop.
Yeah, I think he's a downgrade on what they had, in Conor Gallagher in Dewsbury Hall.
He's a downgrade on Mason Mount from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like
he's a good player, and he had a good year in the Championship, but that's never really... I mean, he's had years in the Premier League before, and he's had okay seasons, but nothing great.
Is he? Yeah, he's good, but is he Chelsea good? I don't know.
What is Chelsea good these
Yeah,
days?
it's also a good question.
I've gone for Darwin Núñez as a flop for Liverpool. I feel like as well this could be his last year in a Liverpool shirt. I think he hasn't had the greatest of pre-seasons. When he has played, he's played with the kind of second team with Jota used in the first team as the number 9. And I'm just not sure if Arne Slot fancies him too much, and I feel like that might get into his head a little bit. And when he plays, he's a very emotional player, and I feel like if he's not fancied, I feel like when he does play, it could get into his head, and he just basically keeps doing those crazy misses and not scores too many goals this season.
Potentially, I don't know how much he's played in pre-season. Obviously, he was at the Copa. Jota's been playing in the number 9 and looking really good in pre-season for Liverpool. I'm a bit of a believer in Núñez. I think he's one of these players who, once he starts scoring goals consistently, if he can get there, I think there's no stopping him. But it's always been these misses that have held him back. But he's still young enough that he can get past that, and I think he's got so much quality. He's got everything you want in a striker. So it'll be up to Slot to get the best out of him, but we'll see if he does that.
Best signing of the season, we've both gone for the same player in Dominic Solanke, and the most expensive player that has been bought in the Premier League this season. I'm looking at the signings that other teams have made, and I just can't think of anyone that's going to be, have as much of an impact as Dominic Solanke.
Yeah, I was going through the signings. I do think there have been some good signings from a lot of teams this summer. A lot of smart signings, but I just can't see a more perfect fit than Solanke to Spurs in terms of what we're looking for, what he is, his stage of his career, exactly what Tottenham are missing. It's just a perfect fit. It's the perfect hole being filled here by Solanke. So I think it is going to be the best signing of the summer. I think as well, if you're looking at the top teams, I mean, Calafiori is obviously a good signing, but they've already got the best defence in the league anyway. Man City, I've signed Savinho. He's a youngster. I mean, he might take some time to bed in. Liverpool have yet to make a signing. I'm just looking at the signings for big money or the big signings, and I just can't see a more perfect fit than Solanke, to be honest.
Yeah, Man U have made some decent signings with Xerxes, Mazraoui and De Ligt.
I don't know if, De Ligt, I like De Ligt, don't get me wrong, but he didn't last that long at Juve. He's been shipped out by Bayern fairly quickly as well. I know
apparently a lot of Bayern fans are unhappy about that. They're saying, why have we let go of our best centre-back?
Yeah, maybe he is, but there's they've agreed to let him go for one reason or another. I mean, he's also not been that great for them from what I've seen. I mean, I know he's a good player, and I'm sure he'll be good for Man United. I'm sure he'll improve them, but if you're expecting, I mean, I guess he's still young enough to really improve. He's still, 24, 25. So he's got a lot of time on his side. And I'd obviously, if Tottenham were to sign him, I'd be super excited. But I don't know if you're expecting to sign this world-class centre-back, which everyone thought he would be at 17, 18. He hasn't quite lived up to that just yet. But he's still got time to make that step. I don't know if it's going to be the perfect. Xerxes was good for Bologna, scored a few goals, but I mean, he's nowhere near.
De Ligt is still a massive upgrade on what they've let go and what they've had last season. So I think Man United, I think those signings are like filling holes which they've needed from the gaps that they had last season. So
Todibo might be a shout. Todibo might be a shout for West Ham.
Fulkrug could be as well.
Fulkrug might be, but I think Todibo, he is one who really should have been going to one of the top 6 clubs, really. And the fact that West Ham have got him is a major coup, in my opinion. Major coup.
Let's move on to surprise package of the season. Sim's gone for Weefer.
Weefer from Brighton. I'm a massive fan of his.
We've both gone for Brighton players.
I really wanted Spurs to get him. I thought it would be perfect for our midfield, but I remember...
Who did he come from?
Feyenoord. And he was really good for Feyenoord last season. I think he's a really good technical player, really good physicality as well. I think a lot of people are going to look at him now that I think he's really going to help replace what Pascal Gross gave them as well. And I think Billy Gilmour might be out the door. I think he's going to have a really good season. I reckon after this season, a lot of top clubs will be looking at him, in my opinion. So I've gone for him to be a bit of a surprise package.
Yeah, and I've gone for Minte of Brighton as well. They signed him off Newcastle this summer, and a lot of Newcastle fans were very disappointed that they let go one of their stars of the academy. And I've seen a bit of him in pre-season, and he looks incredible. He's had a lot of goal contributions, a very tricky winger, fast, got bags of pace, got bags of tricks as well. And I feel like as well, some big Premier League teams after this season might be in for him.
And he got 16 goal contributions for final last year. So I mean, this guy, he was in my thinking, but I just went for UEFA. But Minter as well, he looks like a real prospect.
Yeah. Golden Boot, we've both gone for Erling Haaland. I think that's probably the easiest one of the
relegation and a Golden Boot.
Yeah, basically.
Erling Haaland. Yeah, I mean, how can you not? He plays for Man City. It's just he's probably going to be top goal scorer whenever, as long as he's in that team. So yeah, I just couldn't look past Erling Haaland. How can you?
Yeah, you can't. You just can't. The amount of chances that Man City make, and he's on the end of all of them. And he had a poor season last year and got 27 goals.
Last season he scored 27, but he was Golden Boot by 4 or 5 goals, and he underperformed his XG by about 8.
Yeah.
So that goes to show how much. Like, he actually had some. If you look at some of his misses last year, he had some mad misses.
I know.
And he's still like way top goal scorer.
Even the season before, when he scored 36 or whatever it was, he had some mad misses.
So just imagine if he can cut those out of his game. Like, he's going to be.
He doesn't even need to cut them out of his game to win Golden Boot.
I know, that's what's mad about it. He's got so much scope to get more goals. It's crazy.
Playmaker of the year, most assists. Sim's gone for Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I've got a feeling a lot of teams are working on set pieces, and I think he takes a lot of set pieces for Man United. I've been really impressed with him. I thought he had a really good end to the season last season. I thought for the last 10 games or so, he was really getting back to his best after what was by and large not the best season from him. And I thought in the Euros he looked pretty good. I thought in the Community Shield he looked really, really sharp and electric. I think Man United have improved some of their signings and the team dynamic, but he's kind of a player that he's not going to be rotated. They're so reliant on him. He plays every game. He takes set pieces. He's so good at those deep assists as well. I've just got a feeling he could have a really good season. So I've gone for Bruno to be the playmaker.
Yeah, I've actually gone for Mohamed Salah, and with him aging a little bit, what was he, 32 years of age now? I feel like his role is changing a little bit into more of a creator. He obviously does still score a significant amount of goals, but I feel like this season he could get a hell of a load of assists with a lot of runners around him, and he got quite a good number of assists last year, in 9 or 10 assists, and I feel like he could get even more this year in a very fast-paced Liverpool side that are going to attack loads and score loads of goals. So yeah, I think it could be Mo Salah. Interestingly enough, but that is our player predictions.